in Missouri, and this evening Bhante Vimalaramsi is giving the Dhamma talk, and the discourse tonight is Majjhima Nikaya number 152, the Indriyabhāvanā Sutta, the development of the faculties.
Thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Kajangala in the grove of trees. When the Brahman student Uttara, a pupil of the Brahman Parasara, I don't like these names, Parasaraviya, VY, went to the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side. The Blessed One asked him, Uttara, how does your Brahman teacher teach his disciples the development of the faculties? Or does he teach the development of the faculties? He does, Master Gautama. But Uttara, how does he teach his disciples the development of the faculties? Here, Master Gautama, one does not see forms with the eye, one does not hear sounds with the ear. That is how my teacher teaches his disciples the development of the faculties. If that is so, Tara, then a blind man and a deaf man will have developed faculties according to what your Brahman teacher says. For a blind man does not see forms with the eye, and a deaf man does not hear sounds with the ear. When this was said, the Brahman student Uttara sat silent, dismayed, with shoulders drooping and head down, glum and without response. Then, knowing this, the Blessed One addressed the Venerable Ananda. Ananda, this Brahman teacher teaches his disciples the development of the faculties in one way, but in the Noble One's discipline, the supreme development of the faculties is otherwise. Now is the time, Blessed One, now is the time, Sublime One, for the Blessed One to teach the supreme development of the faculties in the Noble One's discipline. Having heard it from the Blessed One, the monks will remember it. Listen, Ananda, and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, Venerable Sir, the Blessed One said this. Now, Ananda, how is there the supreme development of the faculty in the Noble One's discipline? Here, Ananda, when a monk sees forms with the eye, there arises in him what is agreeable. There arises what is disagreeable. There arises what is both agreeable and disagreeable. He understands thus, there has arisen in me what is agreeable. There has arisen in me what is disagreeable. There has arisen in me what is both agreeable and disagreeable. But that is conditioned, gross, dependently arisen. This is peaceful, this is sublime, that is equanimity. The agreeable that arose, the disagreeable that arose, and both the agreeable and disagreeable that arose cease in him, and equanimity is established. Just as a mind with good sight, having opened his eyes, might shut them, or having shut his eyes, might open them, so too concerning anything at all. The agreeable that arose, the disagreeable arose, the both agreeable and disagreeable that arose cease just as quickly. just as rapidly, just as easily, and equanimity is established. You ready? How do you do that?
6 R's.
That's right. See, the thing that gets real confusing is when teachers start talking about this, they say, well, just be mindful of it.
Mm.
And of course you have to be mindful of it. I mean, that's the recognizing part, is being mindful that that has risen. But what do you do with it after that? Note it until it goes away? Doesn't work. But when you use the 6 R's, any attachment to what you see, or any aversion to what you see, or any neutral feeling to what you see, is recognized for what it is, just a feeling. So as soon as you 6R that, you let go of the craving. And the biggest problem with all of the sense doors is that as soon as that sense door arises, we can notice it, and then we start thinking about it. And then we start thinking about something else, and then we think about something else, and then we think about something else, and you're not in the present moment anymore. You're out in the Netherlands somewhere. So the whole problem, and when I was in Malaysia, there was a lot of that kind of teaching going around. Oh, you're not mindful, and if you like something, that means you have an attachment to it. And that's not the way life works. And there are agreeable things. There are agreeable tastes. So you prefer to take that taste as opposed to another taste. That doesn't mean you're attached to it if you're using the 6 R's while you're doing that. See, the beauty of the 6 R's is it helps equanimity to arise. And what is equanimity? Equanimity is balance in your mind. It's being in the present moment, not thinking about what that taste was like before or what it's going to be like in the future. You're in the present moment with balance, and you're seeing it as part of an impersonal process. You have to use the 6 R's so much that it becomes automatic. So the 6 R's start arising by themselves. That's only using them 100,000 times, or 1,000,000 times, or something like that. But the more you can remember to do that, the easier. Could you give me some water?
Very good.
Warm if you can.
I have a little teapot that's on the counter.
But the more times that you can remember to do it, the more you let go of craving. Craving is not particularly difficult to let go of, but it is particularly persistent. And that means you have to use it a lot. You have to use the 6 R's a lot. And you'll notice the subtle tightnesses when they start to come up. And when you start noticing that, that's when you can 6R. Now, at the start of your meditation, like you're starting right now, you only 6R what has pulled your attention away. Sometimes you can be on your object of meditation and a thought comes up, but it's not very strong. You don't have to 6R it, just let it be. Ignore it. But the important part of this is that it ceases just as rapidly as it arises when you use the 6R. Now, you can have a tension in your head and you 6R and it doesn't go away. That's fine. One time, 6R. Come back to your object of meditation. Your mind will get pulled away again because you still have attachment to whatever that is. So you 6R it again, and you 6R it again, until finally it starts fading away by itself. So just as fast as it comes up, it'll go away that fast when your mindfulness is strong.
Sometimes it will not fade away.
It will fade away every time you use the 6Rs. Another one
Maybe.
comes up.
Yeah, okay. And I was not skilled if you don't go away.
When you're mindful and you 6R, it goes away.
But
Another
I
one
was not
can-
skilled in using the 6Rs. I tried to say. I thought I was doing the 6Rs, but I wasn't doing it the right way, so the pain didn't
That's
go
why it
away.
didn't go away.
Oh,
That's
well, pain is pain.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll go away and sometimes it won't.
How do you use the 6Rs incorrectly?
How I did it incorrectly, maybe I just
Use it too fast,
too fast or
forget to relax.
push away,
you're
push
trying to
away
push,
instead
you're trying to use
of
it
push
as a
away
club.
instead of
Allow.
allow. I
Why
was
not?
pushing instead of
No, yeah.
allowing,
Mhm.
just being it. Just not pay attention. I didn't just not pay attention, but I was pushing.
What happens is the student gets desperate and they want to release. That's the pattern people fall into, or they think, well, what I have to do is relax. That's what those two that take them by themselves. It's like, here are 6 ingredients for a cake, and you're saying, well, eggs,
Mhm.
or flour, and you can't have the cake.
Okay.
So that's why it doesn't work.
You're not using the 6Rs to change anything. You're using the 6Rs to relax and allow a feeling to be there. When you try to use it as a stick to make something happen, that's when you get into problems. You have to be able to realize that it's okay for whatever is there to be there. It has to be okay because that's the truth. It's there. So a lot of people use loving kindness to try to beat away the thoughts or the feelings or trying to control. And what you have to do is learn that you're not there, so there's no need to control anything. So it's a matter of backing off on your energy. What happens when you don't back off on the energy, you put too much in, you not only have the pain still be there, but you get restless on top of it. The whole thing with energy is you have to learn how to balance it. If you have restlessness coming in, you have to learn how to back off with your energy and not use so much energy. It's not for control. This practice has nothing to do with control. This practice has to do with allowing. Allow whatever to be there by itself. You don't continue feeding it. And the way you feed it is by keeping your attention on, when she was doing that with the pain, she was keeping her attention on the pain, instead of allowing that space for that pain to be there, and she was doing it with a tight mind. Because I don't like that feeling. Of course, there's a repulsion of painful feeling. Everybody has that. And it takes the equanimity to get your mind in balance so you can see it for what it is. It's just this feeling. It's painful, okay, so what? It's okay for it to be there, and you allow it to stay there. But you don't keep your attention on it. This is called the Noble One's discipline, the supreme development of the faculties regarding forms cognizable by the eye. Dear Ananda, when a monk hears a sound with the ear, there arises in him what is agreeable. There arises what is disagreeable. There arises what is both agreeable and disagreeable. He understands thus, and he 6 R's that. See, a lot of people have this idea that when you're doing meditation, you have to keep your eyes focused down and not have your eyes be distracted by anything at all, but that's not realistic. What you have to do is watch what your mind is doing. Mind is the forerunner of all states. You say that this morning?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you get to say it every day?
Because it's true.
And eventually you'll even start to realize it. The thing is that if you get distracted and you see a flower or you see something, it's okay, you see it, but you 6R it. And now you're in the present moment with it, without having any distracting thoughts, having a mind that's very clear, very bright, and then it's easy to let it be. But you don't get caught up in, oh, that's beautiful, I really like this flower. I remember the last time I saw that last spring. It was great stuff. And there I went over to my neighbor's house and I saw you. You see how your mind does that.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to be mindful of. Observing how mind's attention moves from one thing to another. And do your harmonious practice of the 6 R's. He understands when he uses the 6 R's, then equanimity is established, just as a strong man might snap his finger. So too, concerning anything at all, the agreeable that arose, the disagreeable that arose, the both agreeable and disagreeable that arose, ceased just as quickly, just as rapidly, just as easily, and equanimity is established. A lot of people, especially when they first come and start practicing, they have this roller coaster ride with emotions. Oh, I really like this. Oh, I really hate that. And you're doing this all the time. When you start developing equanimity, your high highs aren't as strong, and your low lows aren't as strong. And before long, you start to be like a wave. So you don't get excited and don't have the emotional states arise. And if it does, you start 6R'ing that.
Mhm.
And it will cease before long. As long as you don't get attached to it. This is called the Noble One's discipline, the supreme development of the faculties regarding sounds cognizable by the ear. Again, Ananda, when a monk smells an odor with the nose, there arises in him what is agreeable. There arises what is disagreeable. There arises what is both agreeable and disagreeable. Now, what he's really saying is there arises a feeling.
Mhm.
And what happens right after feeling?
Think about
Craving. Tension and tightness. I like that. I don't like that. Right after that, then there's all of your thoughts, opinions, concepts, ideas.
that.
And right after that is your habitual emotional tendencies. Every time this kind of feeling arises, I act that way. And then there's some kind of a birth of action trying to fight with it. And that leads to sorrow.
Lamentation, pain, grief, and despair.
Okay. Now those are words to describe how you cause yourself suffering.
Mhm.
And he understands how to use the 6Rs, and equanimity is established. Just as raindrops on a slightly sloping lotus leaf roll off and do not remain there, so too concerning anything at all. The agreeable that arose, the disagreeable that arose, both the agreeable and disagreeable that arose, they cease just as quickly. Just as rapidly, just as easily, and equanimity is established. This is called the Noble One's discipline and supreme development of the faculties regarding odors cognizable by the nose. Again, Ananda, when a monk tastes a flavor with the tongue, there arises in him what is agreeable, there arises what is disagreeable, there arises what is both agreeable and disagreeable. And he understands he needs to use the 6Rs. And equanimity is established, just as a strong man might easily spit out a ball of spittle collected on the tip of the tongue. So too, concerning anything at all, the agreeable that arose, the disagreeable that arose, the both agreeable and disagreeable that arose, cease just as quickly, just as rapidly, just as easily, and equanimity is established. This is called the Noble One's discipline. In the Noble One's discipline, the supreme development of faculties regarding flavors cognizable by the tongue. Again, when a monk touches a tangible with the body, there arises in him what is agreeable, there arises what is disagreeable, there arises what is both agreeable and disagreeable. He understands you need to 6R that. And then equanimity becomes established. Just as a strong man might extend his flexed arm, or flex his extended arm, so too concerning anything at all, the agreeable that arose, the disagreeable that arose, the both agreeable and disagreeable that arose, cease just as quickly, just as rapidly, just as easily, and equanimity is established. This is called in the Noble One's discipline the supreme development of the faculties regarding tangibles, cognizable by the body, any kind of touch at all. Again, when a monk cognizes a mind object with mind, there arises in him what is agreeable, there arises what is disagreeable, there arises what is both agreeable and disagreeable. He understands that he needs to use the 6 R's. That's with every thought, or with thoughts that pull your attention away. And equanimity is established in him. Just as if a man were to let 2 or 3 drops of water fall on an iron plate heated for a whole day. The falling of the drops might be slow, but they would quickly vaporize and vanish. So too concerning anything at all, agreeable, disagreeable, both agreeable and disagreeable, they cease just as quickly, just as rapidly, just as easily, and equanimity is established. This is called the Noble One's discipline. The supreme development of the faculties regarding ideas cognizable by mind. It's really easy to get caught up in ideas. That is how there is the supreme development of the faculties in the Noble One's discipline. And how Ananda is one, the disciple of in higher training, who has entered upon the way. Here, Ananda, when a monk sees a form with the eye, hears a sound with the ear, smells an odor with the nose, tastes a flavor with the tongue, touches a tangible with the body, cognizes a mind object with mind. There arises in him what is agreeable, there arises what is disagreeable, there arises both what is both agreeable and disagreeable. He is repelled, humiliated, and disgusted by the agreeable that arose, by the disagreeable that arose, by both the agreeable and disagreeable by the rose. That is how one is a disciple in higher training who has entered upon the way. What does that mean?
You said he finds everything disagreeable? Like he's repelled by the agreeable?
Well, when a feeling arises, the 6 are that. Then craving won't arise. Then clinging won't arise. Then your habitual tendency won't arise. And then the suffering won't arise. So the thing is that we're working with subtle things. And we're talking about very subtle things. So it's really important that you understand that any kind of disturbance that arises in mind at all, as soon as you can remember to notice it, you need to 6R it right then. At first, your mind's going to flip-flop all around. It's going to be moving all over the place. But as you start getting deeper in your practice, it stops moving quite so much. And before long, it's just vibrating. But even that vibration is a disturbance. And when you get to that place where you can see a disturbance from long ways away, just starting to arise, and you 6R right then you sit with a mind that has real peace and real calm and strong equanimity. And how Ananda is one a noble disciple? How is one a noble one with developed faculties? Here, Ananda, when a monk sees forms with the eye, hears sounds with the ears, smells odors with the nose, tastes flavors with the tongue, touches a tangible with the body, cognizes a mind object with mind, there arises in him what is agreeable, there arises what is disagreeable, there arises what is both agreeable and disagreeable. He should wish, may I abide perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive. Think about it for a minute. You perceive the unrepulsive in the repulsive. What is that saying? You see it with equanimity. He abides perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive. If he wishes, may I abide perceiving the repulsive in the unrepulsive. So you can see it with equanimity again. Even though it's a pleasant thing, you don't let it be a distraction to you. You don't let your mind take off. Then he abides perceiving the repulsive in the unrepulsive. If he should wish, may I abide perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive and unrepulsive. He abides perceiving the unrepulsive. In other words, you're just seeing it. It doesn't matter whether it's repulsive or not. Right?
Could you say the last one again?
May I abide perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive and unrepulsive.
Okay.
If he should wish, may I abide perceiving the repulsive in the unrepulsive and the repulsive. Just not wanting to be distracted, keeping that equanimity there with you. He abides perceiving the repulsive in that. If he should wish, may I avoid both the repulsive and unrepulsive. Abide in equanimity, mindful and fully aware. So this is kind of a training steps. Okay, but when your equanimity, in every jhana you have equanimity, but in the first jhana it's not very strong, in the second jhana it's a little stronger, the third jhana is stronger still, fourth jhana it's very strong. And there's such relief in having this mind that says, okay, whatever it is, that's fine. He abides in equanimity towards that, mindful and fully aware. When you have strong equanimity, you're in the present moment very much. And you're seeing as true nature. And the true nature of everything is
Impermanent.
impersonal. Everything is impersonal. It just arises and it's okay for it to be there because it arose. And then it'll fade away by itself. So you're seeing anicca, dukkha, anatta. But the key is the anatta. They call it no self, I call it impersonal. Seeing everything as an impersonal process helps your mind to stay in balance and helps your mind to observe when there's any wobbling in that strong balance. That is how one is a noble one with developed faculties. So Ananda, excuse me, the supreme development of the faculties in the noble one's discipline has been taught by me, the disciple in higher training who has entered upon the way has been taught by me. The noble one with developed faculties has been taught by me. What should be done for his noble disciples out of compassion by the teacher who seeks their welfare and has compassion for them, that I have done for you, Ananda. There are these roots of trees, these empty huts. Meditate, Ananda. Do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. That's what the Blessed One said. The Venerable Ananda was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. And you notice he didn't talk to Uttara anymore. All he did was find out what he was practicing. And he just made it a general talk and used Ananda as the one.
And Ananda did delay until after he would have died.
That's probably why they kept saying that to him all those times. I never put that together, because he did delay.
Yeah.
Well, because he was taking care of the Buddha. I mean, he was, what an attendant he was.
I was explaining to Kathy the other night, he was the chief roadie for the Buddha's talks, and he was in charge of everything and had to make sure security was there and the seats and everything was.
He didn't have to worry about security.
And he just told everybody to do
Well, he
it.
went around the Garuda Kuti 9 times during the night. He was his own security force.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's-
He didn't want people to disturb him. The chair's merit. May suffering
Ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.